Hey everybody, it's Dr. Bacon from East Cobb Spine Sport Chiropractic. We are about to talk about something that is amazing. We added in the decompression. Now, let me explain why. People are asking all the time, hey doc, what do you do in your practice and why do you do it? Well, one, I get adjusted on a regular basis. Two, I take nutritional supplements on a regular basis. Three, I do PEMF, which we'll talk about later. And now I've added in decompression. Do you know that you get 40 years of good disc height in your vertebra? And what I mean by that is you're carrying around a heavy head. We've done the bowling ball and showed you the bowling ball. The more forward that is, the more stress you have, the more tightness you have. Remember, your disc and your vertebra, see what this has. I got this great setup here for you. You guys can see what the discs are doing and kind of the dermatomal levels. But your disc has a cervical curve like this. So as I'm spacing this way, that curve is this way as a nice little banana. But as the head goes forward, instead of that being, I'm gonna use this hand, instead of that being soft like this, it gets what? Really tight and tense. And this is stress on the system. So what we want to do is keep that body in this nice position. This is why we adjust from the posterior aspect forward to keep that disc in the right position and keep the spine moving. So adjustments break up the adhesions. Adhesions will leave inflammation, which will cause breakdown. So if the vertebra is facing this way, head's this way, this is a lumbar vertebra, and I push down on it, you can see that disc pushes out. Well, that disc then, the angular fibers are getting weak. I'm going to go over this in a second. And you get that pressure on the nerve. That is when you get sciatic pain. So let me show you guys something really quick. Here's how this works. And no, I'm not an artist. I'm a doctor. These are the spinal vertebra. You got a little, those are your spinal column, or your spinous process. Now, in between these, remember you're walking and talking and bouncing and doing all this stuff. That's this all day long. Boom, 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 boom. And there's a pressure in here to keep the disc and everything in the right position. But as we age, 40 years, you get 40 years of good disc height. Nice and really full of fluid in that disc to help your body deal with it. Now, here's the thing. These are your discs in between those vertebrae as they're walking and talking. The one thing that you have in here is a nucleus pulposus. This right here. This is the nucleus in here, right there and right there. Now you have annular fibers that are all around in this disc that are holding that nucleus right there in the middle to kind of keep it so it's spongy. Now, there's a lot of fluid in there, but there's not a lot of blood supply. This is why you see breakdown. So as we're walking and talking, you're going to get this. And what ends up happening here is the disc looking down on it, right here. There's the nucleus inside there. And what ends up happening is you start to push down on this. This annular fibers that are running and supporting, they'll actually start to get less hydration and we'll get more of that disc pushing out, which means it's starting to migrate out into the area that's going to push that disc. And what ends up happening if that gets here, your fibers now are torn up and it starts to go around like that. And these fibers now, instead of being nice and lined up, they're pushed out. And this is what ends up happening to degeneration. And so what we want to do, and this is called imbibition. So as we're walking and talking and I put movement in the joints, it actually helps with imbibition, which is actually pulling fluid back into the central of the disc. So decompression works this way. As you pull out, the body's like, no, because you have ligaments here and here that are stabilizing that vertebra and not allowing it to move. So as the disc pulls, the machine is so intelligent, it goes, uh-oh, the body's resisting, so it kind of lets up a little bit. So it makes the body think that it's winning, when really it's not, because it's actually just kind of relaxing a little bit. So then the tension relaxes. So people come to me and say, well, can't I just flip upside down? Well, that would be brilliant if our feet were hands. But no, they're not. So you're not supposed to grip and flip upside down because all the viscera and everything is held in position this way for gravity pushing down. Once I flip it over, it doesn't have anything suspending it. So what does it do? Which is why, where does blood rush? Right to your head, all that stuff is pressure, which is an increased stress. And we talk about what in here? Stress. You've got to try and decrease the stress. So laying flat on the decompression will allow that to pull lightly. It pulls for a minute, then it relaxes. While it's measuring, your body resisting. Then it relaxes, and that relaxation is when that imbibition pulls in, and actually the fluid will pull back up underneath, which is exactly this. it will do this, and then it will kind of slowly let that disc come back in. That's bad. That's good. Got it? And that's what's happening. And this is why we're doing this. We've had so many people come in that had sciatic pain, they couldn't walk, they've had problems. We had a guy come in here, literally could not move, and in 3 weeks he was able to dance at his 50th wedding anniversary. This is the brilliance of it. But I'm not buying this for pain management. I'm buying it for you and you, because it's for us to keep living the dream and doing the things that we enjoy. So hopefully this made sense to you, the decompression, why we use it, what we're doing for you. But remember, don't worry, if you're not going to use it, I'll use it. So will my wife, so does my staff, so does my team. Everybody's using it because we understand that what's good for me is good for you. And we want you to be as optimally functioning as you can and increase that health for as long as possible. That's what we call living the dream. And thank you for paying attention, and share this with your friends and family.